What is going on, my friends? Legendary marketer community. It's Dave Sharpe here, your personal pilot for this flight this morning. It is going to be one hell of a ride. We've got one of your favorites. Don't worry about if he's my favorite. I know he's your favorite, and he's becoming very quickly one of my favorites. He is one of, a male in this very female-dominated internet marketing space right now. 2023 is definitely looking bright for all of the stay-at-home moms and all of you teachers and nurses who have been working your tails off over the past several years or decades, and now you're looking for some alternatives. Well, hey, there's some guys out there. Some fellas are still looking for the same thing. Here's one of them, Phil Kohberger. What is up, brother? Welcome to the show.
What's happening, Dave? How are you, my friend?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm just hyping up the ladies here for a second, because I think it's a beautiful thing, man. But what do you think?
Wow. Over the past 6 months to a year, it's been a ride for a lot of the ladies. It's been it's wonderful to see that they're dominating. I love it. I know a lot of them. I've become friends with a lot of them. I call them the girly girls. The girly girls are out there just doing their thing. So, and I love it. I love that they're just showing us the way.
Yeah. Well, don't count the fellas out, ladies and gentlemen, because Phil is here today. He's out there every day. He's also going to be speaking at our upcoming mastermind. So you're going to get lots of Phil, and you're going to see it from Phil's perspective, which is quite an entertaining perspective. So what is your reaction of all of this in your life over the past year or so?
Where's my reaction? Well, I'll tell you. My life has changed. I used to say 360, but somebody told me if you're doing a 360, you're back to where you started. It's 180. It's a big 180. So, this time last year, I was standing behind a counter, handing out HVAC parts to people. I was a manager for a heating and air conditioning supply house. Mm-hmm. I did that for 19 and a half years. It was a job that was, it was a job that had very old technology that used to be in IT a long time ago. And, this company had IT stuff that was 1985. And it was very grueling to me to work that kind of a job. Long story short, what happened with me was I started doing this because my health was really not well. I mean, it's stress, the anxiety that I have is just out of whack. My doctor told me that you need to do something different. So I found you guys through a gentleman named Calvin Hill. Sat in his live for a couple hours just listening to the guy. And I ended up going through the challenge. And, I really thought I knew everything when I went through the challenge. I bought the blueprints. And when I went through the blueprints, and this is my honest, I tell this to people in my live, my honest thing was when I started all this, because I didn't make any money for like 3 or 4 months, was I know everything. I got the blueprints. I felt like I had it all. And, I just like, I know everything. So I really didn't go through the blueprints. That's why I didn't make any money for like 3 or 4 months. I really thought I kind of knew it all. I was like, I kind of skimmed through it and I was like, I got this. I'm a guy. I know this stuff. I got it. So I went through it and I sat with my wife. I'm like, I'm not making any money. She said, did you actually go through it? Or you just kind of skimmed? I went through it. Anyway, long story short, I went through it. I went through the stuff. I finally took it all over again. And then I realized that, look, I really have to apply this stuff. I really have to go through this and really make something out of this because it's already proven that some people are using it and doing it. Let me do it. Anyway, I did it. And I started making some money. All right. 11 months later, I made some really good money. The job was getting worse. Things were just not there for me. And I started realizing that this could be something that I can possibly transition to. Well, that was the plan. My plan was to get out of that full-time job by June of this year, 2023. October, 12th of 2022, I got sat down in an office and they said, "Hey, Phil, um, time to let you go." So after 19 and a half years, and that was devastating to the family. I had a six-figure income over there and I was doing very well. But I felt relief. And that day I filmed it. I got home from work and I filmed everything. I filmed how I felt. I filmed I used to wear like a uniform or like a golf shirt with a logo on it. I took all my clothes, threw them in the trash. And I filmed it all. And recently I just put it out on my TikTok. I did a part 1 of my TikTok and a part 2. Boy, let me tell you, that's 6 months later. And if anybody want to watch that, I don't want to watch it ever again. But it was hard to edit the whole thing, and my eyes were all puffy. It was just a bad day. But I wanted people to really feel how I felt on a certain day like that, and it happens to people.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show people that, and since it was 6 months later, I wanted to show people that, look, this is what happened to me then, and you can absolutely rise up from failure like that, or not really a failure, but something that has a big life change in your life. And here I am 6 months later, still doing this, having fun. Anxiety is not as high as it used to be. My wife is looking at me. My anxiety is not as used to be, but
she's the lie detector over there, making sure that it's all.
She's telling me to shut up. She's like, you're talking too much.
No, we want to hear this. What's your wife's name?
Her name's Heather.
Heather, we want to hear this from Phil, and then later, if you'd like, we'd like to hear your version too, because there's his version and then your version, right? Which we know that husbands and wives experience things differently. It's like 2 different movies. You know what I mean?
That's right. My version's totally different than hers.
So what has it been like to be new at something? And just for some added context, I grew up watching my stepfather put in decades and decades at Sears. You remember Sears?
Yep.
Okay, Sears, Roebuck and Company. Well, he worked at Sears, and then my stepfather, he worked at Sears, and then my mother worked at Sears as well. She sold shoes and did some remodeling work there for some different stores. But yeah, same exact story. He just didn't have, he had to sort of default, or chose to default. He didn't have to. He chose to default to handyman work and things of that nature, which is no easier on the body, right? So I've seen that happen from inside of my home growing up. And it wasn't even, 2023, it was back. So this is always happening. This is not like something new. What's it been like though, for you to have a backup, but of course not feel totally confident about your backup at first because you were new?
Well, to be honest with you, I really did have confidence in myself. I think that's what really got me to where I was. And, in the beginning, it was just something new, something that I had to figure out, something that, I was never a marketer before I did anything like that. But I kind of realized that the only thing that I really had to learn was to market. My whole job here is to really understand how marketing works and how to market to people and how to help as many people as possible. That's my job. And I figured that out pretty early on. And I didn't know about going live. I didn't know about doing anything else but going live, because when I learned this, I learned through Calvin Hill, the gentleman. My first thing was to watch a gentleman for 2.5 hours, and that's what he did, and that's how he did this business. So my whole object when I started was to get as many followers as I possibly can and go live. So that's what he did. So, and he was very successful. So I said, I think that's what I have to do. So I did it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that ever since, twice a day, almost twice a day, every day for almost 2 years now. I love it. I think I'm pretty good at it. And, and the only reason why I say that is because I get a lot of good feedback from people, and I spend, 1, 2, almost 3 hours sometimes just sitting in lives and explaining how this stuff works and making sure people understand what this is about. So,
yeah. And did you come right out of the gate with those lives feeling confident? Did you talk to us about those? Because those first couple of ones are always, I think, the difficult ones. It's fear. I listened to this sailor, this Norwegian sailor that I watch on YouTube sometimes. He was talking about, how he was filming himself going into a category 10 storm. And he was like, look, fear is the lack of knowledge. Once you do it, you have the knowledge, you have the experience, you know what it's like on the other side of the door. You're not as afraid of it. So what was it like for you to not yet know what was on the other side of the door, but still go live? What did you do in those first few lives? Do you remember how you felt and how they went?
Well, fear is always huge. I mean, when you're an older person, I'm 55. At the time I was 54. And here I am, with a new TikTok, here I am with a new TikTok, and I'm on TikTok, and I'm talking to nobody. I turn on live, and there's nobody there. There is one person that showed up and sat and listened to me, but I didn't.
It was Heather.
No, it wasn't Heather. Heather's not even on TikTok. They put me down in the basement. And when I started doing this, they put me in the basement and said, because I'm very loud when I do my lives. They just put me in the basement. So I sat in the basement in a dark. It was a black curtain behind me. People thought I was in a morgue. But I was back down there, and I would sit there, and I had I came up with just a little bit of a presentation. And I'll talk about this at the mastermind, but on how I go about it all. But just a brief idea of what I do is I just introduce myself and tell my story. And, I remember in 7th grade, I got a nice little award for the best storyteller award. And, as my life goes on, I can certainly tell you that it helps to be able to tell a story in a good way. And I was sitting there, and I spent about 40 minutes just talking to nobody. Somebody would come in and go away. Somebody coming in and go away. But I would do that every day just to practice. And I felt as though, I think I heard you say at one point that you did webinars and things like there was nobody there, but you made it make believe that there's 1,000 people in your life or in your webinar.
You pointed that out, so I didn't go in and tell that story once again for the 50,000th time, huh?
So, that's right. But that's okay. There's somebody else that has never heard it. So, but listen, that's what I did. I wanted to make sure that if there were 100 people in here, I want to be the same person. I don't want to change. I just want to be that same person and be as authentic as I possibly can be.
Yeah. Yeah. I talked about, and still do, I find this to be still as effective as it was when I was at the very early start doing it. The reason why, folks, if you're new, you see so many people going in and promoting things like Legendary and other affiliate programs when people are starting is because when you're new, you don't really know what the hell to promote. You don't really know what products to pick. So you kind of promote things that you have experience with. And for so many of us, this kind of online marketing, this wealth creation, this moving from employee to entrepreneur is so life-changing. We want to work in that niche. So when I started, I also worked in this niche. I knew that there was other niches, dating niches, and you need to work in the niche that you feel called and comfortable in. And you can always promote multiple products within that niche. But when I started, I started with a lot of the same kind of information, how to build a landing page, how to build a list, right? But it was more specific to network marketers. I remember just teaching people what a landing page was. Yeah. I remember just teaching people what an email autoresponder is. I remember just teaching people the concept and the power and the leverage of a video playing on the internet saying what you want it to say perfectly every time while you sleep. And you can record it and make it perfect. You can do that because video editing tools and so forth allow you to do that. Phil, ironically, those same simple concepts are still just as exciting today. And it seems like just as few people know about it. It's like it hasn't, it's so when people come in and they say, hey, I'm struggling coming up with content. I'm struggling coming up with, what do I say in my first video? What do I, what is the advice that you give people? Do you say, and do you you say anything? Do you give them any specific advice around telling their story and keeping things concise? You know, one of the simple tips that I give is never make a point without telling a story, never tell a story without making a point. And a lot of us, when we do our first video, we think that it's like a kind of like a, I need to publish my autobiography in this first TikTok. And in that we put so much pressure on us as if we're like building a MySpace page and we want it to look good and sound good and all this, versus remembering that what we're doing in marketing is thinking about what's in it for them, and how can I teach something or find something that's easy that I can talk about, easy that they can understand, and makes them feel like they're understanding things. So do you remember what you recorded in your first few videos, not lives? And kind of what is the guidance that you give people in terms of their first videos, just getting something out there?
I had a Zoom meeting with two individuals yesterday. They were in my live and they were begging for some help. And, you know, somebody was talking about being shadow banned, and somebody's talking about that I'm not getting any views, and, you know, I'm new at this and I don't know what to say in my first video. And so, you know, my thing when people start something like this, no matter what niche you're in, I remind people that you went through a program that teaches you how to market. So you need to know that you're marketing something, whatever it is, you're marketing something. Now, what makes video special and what makes the short form content that you're doing special is that you're there and you're going to be the authentic person that somebody wants to relate to. So, you know, the first thing I tell people is, look, you need to be relatable to somebody by being yourself. That's one thing. And the second thing is, you know, you're going to give valuable information to people about whatever you're promoting, whether it be, you know, dog training programs or anything. Like if you're into cars and you're, you know, you want to promote a car detailing program that you're dealing with, you just need to give people valuable information. So when you start off your videos, you give your hook, I always go by the hook story offer type of deal, like Brian Brewer talks about. And I tell you, come up with your hook, come a nice little hook that people can understand and get interested in what you're talking about. Because look, you're marketing something. And if you're not getting anything out there and people are doing this and they're scrolling by, right? And what did Matt used to say? They got scoliosis, boing, 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 boing. They're flipping through. And if you can't stop that scroll within 1 second with a hook, they're gone. So you really need to hook somebody I believe, first second. Some people say 40 seconds, but nowadays people just don't have, people have a attention span of a flea. So they got to take one.
And a hook really is, I love this because this is a great tangible thing that people can walk away from this with. That hook is also, it's something that you can say. It's also something that can happen in that first second. Like, you come on the video, like, and it's like, yeah. Wow, what was that? It's just a state break. You know, that's what we used to call it, is you're breaking somebody's state. They're seeing a lot of the same things, and they're prejudging in the first half a second what they see, that they think they know what it is. Right. So when they see something that catches their attention, or for example, a verbal hook would be, how these sunglasses helped me make $50 online today without spending a dime in advertising.
Right.
It's like, what? You know, how did these sunglasses? Okay, so now the person's going to stick around for the story, right? So that would be an example of the hook. And I guess we're not using. It's a little different on YouTube. You know, you had your thumbnails, and that was always a huge part, and you still do, a huge part of the hook. But on the platforms where you're scrolling more and the video's auto playing, you really have to include the hook in the content itself.
Yeah. So, I I make examples to people, people get offended when they say, hey man, you're using the word hook, you're targeting people. I don't like those words, those things are offensive to me. I'm like, get over it. This is marketing terms. Don't worry about it. When you're hooking somebody, when you're doing something, in the example of like detailing cars, the first thing, I give an example of, here, you can start your video off like, here are 3 reasons why you should not use dishwashing soap on your vehicle.
Yeah.
And you start giving your 3 reasons why,
Yeah.
right? And you're giving valuable information. Here are 4 ways to get the bug shit off the front of your vehicle from coming home from a family vacation, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these are just fun little things, and people are like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Here's the best way to get the yellow crap off the front of your lights by using toothpaste. Holy shit! Did you see Phil? You just talked about toothpaste. Maybe does it work? Holy crap! And then it's just that's the hook, man. You're stopping the scroll.
Totally.
It certainly does stop people and look at what you're talking about. You got to be something different. You got to do your own thing. But using these type of principles in your marketing, there's a reason why they work. I mean, there's a reason why it happens. So that's getting back to your original question. People want to know, what do I need to do? Why is it not working for me? You really need to just go back to looking at, before you put that video out, watch it. Are you going to be the one that's going to, are you going to be the one that's stopping and looking at your stuff and clicking on your links?
Yeah. But there's a balancing act, there's a balancing act of not over analyzing, of course, and not picking ourselves apart.
Sure.
I want to go back to the hook, offer, story piece, because that's a thing. It was pretty popularized by Russell, and he included in his book, whether it's something he came up with or sort of borrowed from another, uh, marketing person that we're standing on his shoulder. A lot of this stuff is borrowed from one marketer to the next, but it's a great outline. You get into the story. It's like, well, what kind of story? How do I tell a story? Well, the best storytelling formula I ever found was the one that I learned right in 12-step recovery when I was getting ready to go tell my story in front of a treatment center of men. And I had a little bit of clean time, a little bit of sobriety. And it was what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. What it was like. Well, hey, how these sunglasses can help you earn $50 online without a dime spent in advertising. Couple of months ago, I was a construction worker and I couldn't get home to spend time with my kids. Well, one day I was fumbling around online. I discovered affiliate marketing. What's happened since then is I've been able to bring in and supplement my income from selling little products like this that people are already in the market to buy. Click the link and I'll give you my free download that'll tell you exactly how you can get started as well, right? So it's like, at the end I included the offer, but once we tie the reason why the story I think is so important, Phil, and you can, elaborate on this, is because it's creating a personal connection, which is what you're doing in your lives. People want to buy from a person that they like, that at least they trust. I don't know if you always have to know somebody or if you always have to like somebody, but you definitely have to trust that at least what they're saying is true. And people will buy even though they're skeptical. Do you have another way in which you kind of formulate stories? Do you just naturally tell them conversationally, pretty much the same way that we all talk to each other in regular life?
Well, I think I've become so comfortable doing lives that it just comes natural. When I mean, there's been times when I do lives that it's been emotional. There's been times in my lives where I've had people say to me, Phil, I'm going to go in my bathroom and get a couple of tissues. Would you shut up? I mean, there's been people that say that you're pretty authentic. You're the only one that really explains it the right way for me. You're a great teacher, those type of things. I tell people, look, when I do these lives, I try to be me.
Yeah.
I try not to blow smoke up anybody's butt and just say, look, this is why I'm here. This is what I'm here to do for you. I don't, you can swipe on by if you don't like to listen, but, and then, another thing that a lot of people, when they do their lives, have a problem with is when you got trolls that come in and they start yelling scam. And this is all about Legendary. And this is, because I promote Legendary. And if you're doing other things, that's fine. But when people do promote Legendary, they do have people come in and talk about scam and they talk about all that other crap. People will tell me that, are friends of mine, kick them out, get them out of here, block them, all that kind of stuff. But I don't do that. I mean, I just give people, I don't know who that person is. I don't know what kind of problems they've had. I don't know who scammed them in the past or if they've got whatever they're feeling. So what I tell people, I say, look, So-and-so needs to say something. You got the floor, man. Go ahead. Please tell us. Please explain to the people that are in this live, because you're talking. Let's continue to do this. Let's have the conversation. And if you have a question, I'm here to answer it for you. Let me get you, let me help you with your opinion. And if it doesn't work out, fine, you can certainly swipe on by, but I'm not going to kick you out. So that, those are some of the things that I get in these lives. And as far as the storytelling goes, for me, it just comes pretty natural to, I feel that everybody that's in that live, I want them to be my friend when they leave.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's awesome. And that sort of validates where I think we're at with marketing in 2023, is that all of the cool little tricks and gimmicks and formulas, and you got to be so robotic and everything has to be so premeditated and planned. It's not hitting as hard. It's not converting as well as it used to, because people are on the lookout for things that feel not authentic.
right.
And so can you speak to this phenomenon of people that want to buy and do business with people who are just making videos on their couch? I mean, it's all you got to do is scroll through your TikTok and see that you're not going to an office. You're not making these videos in any sort of professional setting.
No.
What does that tell you about where people are at right now in terms of what's important to consumers, but also that the barrier to entry to doing this is not, how you look, where you're at, really isn't important, man. And it's being proven every day. Is all you got to do is scroll through your profile. It's just like you're on your couch, you're in your bed, you know what I mean?
My bathrobe. This is what I see, and I can make examples of many people out there. If you talk about Kelly Roberts is a school teacher. There are school teachers that resonate with school teachers. She does a couple of videos in her school settings. She'll talk about her, everything that has to do and the problems that she has with schools. And it's very authentic. She's a very authentic person. And I think that's what makes her very special and very successful in what she does. There are people like Sarah Thompson. Sarah Thompson is out there. She was painting some shutters in her basement or in her garage, and never finished the video, right? Just talking about side hustles and try to take a look at this side hustle, and boom, next thing you know, she's got almost 2 million people looking at that video, because she's very authentic. I'm in my, I'm painting shutters and this and that, no, whatever. People outside walking their dogs, just coming up and they have a thought and they come up and they talk on their phones. And people washing dishes or whatever. Emily Walcott doing, she's a mom and she does, her whole thing is about being a mom, being staying at home mom. And you hear babies crying in the background and she's got spit up on her shirt or whatever it is, it's just, that's authentic. And people relate to that.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I see. Nobody wants to be sold anything. Nobody wants to be sit there and listen to some sort of presentation of any sort. They just want to hear what happened to you? Why are you doing this? And tell me the reason why I should be doing this too.
Totally. And that is where we are at, my friends. I'm not saying that TV commercials don't still work. I guess they do. I've never known how they really track those. How do they really know if their advertising is actually working? But because it's just kind of like, McDonald's, and it's like that's called brand marketing. It's where you're just trying to create brand awareness for your company. But it's not to say those things don't still work. They do. They plant little seeds. So when we're in Walgreens or driving down the road and we, we're like, oh, I remember I want to get a McRib or whatever. I just saw that they're out, on the commercial. So it's not to say that those don't work, but the amount of views, the amount of attention on homemade videos right now, the amount of eyeballs, the amount of money in which companies would have paid for that sort of advertising in the past is just, how do you think about the opportunity that we have all at our fingertips right now? Is this it? I mean, do you think it's like, how do you talk about the saturation? Do you get that question, like saturation versus opportunity, and where are we really at in the grand scheme of things? Is, are we about to capitulate and it's all just gonna, or are we just all freckles on the pimple of a gnat's ass and we haven't even had a bite of our own slice of the pie yet?
Right. When it comes down to saturation, this is what I tell people. I show people a video of a gentleman named Adam Enfroy. Adam Enfroy has got his own blog that he's done for about 6 years. All of his income, most of his income, and most blogs income comes from affiliate programs. He's got over 300 affiliate programs in his blog, and he mentions that he makes $150,000 to $200,000 a month with his affiliate programs. Great. The guy has some credibility when it comes down to this type of business. So he has a video that says, he says that $5 trillion is being sold every year on the internet. 16% of those sales are done by affiliates. That leaves 84% still is out there for people like you and I to go after. And that's what he says. There are products and services being done every day online, all new stuff to be promoted, to be out there. 86% of the companies out there have affiliate programs. I mean, all of that stuff is true. And people just feel that they can't find anything that's gonna work for them. And they don't believe, they've got tunnel vision that, I see all these marketers out there promoting all different types of things, Amazon products. Why can't I promote an Amazon? I see a lot of people promoting Amazon products. They don't understand the algorithm and how the algorithm works, how whatever you're asking for, it's going to give you. So if tomorrow you stop looking for online marketing stuff, or if you stop looking for making money online things and you start looking at cat videos, guess what? TikTok is going to shove a whole bunch of cat videos in your face. So, people just have to understand that. So that is how I tackle the saturation part of this. People have tunnel vision on how crazy, they see all this on TikTok or Instagram. Now, as far as the business is concerned, like you said, the second part of that question was, I forgot the second part of the question.
Well, just the opportunity. I mean, you address the saturation thing, but like a lot of people are just, they're paralyzed and they think that the opportunity is either in the future or in the past. Right. It's never right now. Never, now's not the time to act. Either I should have acted in the past, or maybe I'll wait it out and just, because it's coming, and in just, again, completely overlooking the opportunity, which your big opportunity is going to come from small little actions every day, consistently over time. How do you get people to realize, to understand the opportunity? I mean, look, from my perspective, I mean, I could be flashing numbers up here and talking about things that could get people really excited, but I don't want to oversell. Right? I don't want to make it seem to every single person like you're going to step into this and make hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, even though people are doing that all the time. Right? So how the heck do you communicate the opportunity, how big it is, without overdoing it and making it, you know what I mean? Like doing it in a way that's like, hey, I'm going to be aggressive, but I'm not going to make it seem like every single person's just going to come in and hit the easy button, because that's not what it's going to take. You're going to have to be an entrepreneur and apply some grit to this. But how do you communicate the opportunity?
Well, I preface all my lives with that. I'm not here to tell you that you're going to make, millions of dollars doing this. I'm not making millions of dollars doing this. I'm here to tell you that I'm not here to tell you that you're going to make $10,000 or $20,000 a month doing it. I just tell them, look, there's an opportunity out there for you to make some money with affiliate marketing. I'm going to explain it to you. This is how it works. And then I tell them that, look, there's never been a time in your lives, never. And I've been through technology when it wasn't around until it is today. Yeah. I know what it came.
Carried a phone in a bag probably at one point, right?
I drove limousines and there was a phone in a bag. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, of course, phones and bags and all of the old stuff, cassette tapes, all that stuff. And to what it is today is incredible. Where if I could take my phone and turn it on in 2 seconds and I can talk to somebody in Bangkok or in all over the world, and they're seeing me very clearly, and I can explain to them what's going on with a marketing project that I'm doing. What I explain to people is that you've got a phone that you've spent $1,200 to $1,400 on, that you're consuming on all day long. You're swiping, and you spend 2 hours. The average person spends about 2 hours and 25 minutes on their phone every day. And if you take that opportunity to turn that around and be the person that is not consuming and be the one that's producing, and be out there and just create content and promote somebody else's stuff out there. It's something that's going to make you some money, something that you believe in, something that can certainly change your life in a way that has changed many. Because, and I do explain, there are kids out there making more money than you and I put together by creating content. And the difference between those children and you and I that are in this kind of age group is that those kids were born with a phone in their hand. There is no skepticism. They know that this works. They know that they can make money online. They know that, why do I need to go to college? I can go online and create a business in a matter of days and make $40,000-$50,000 a month in a matter of a year or 2 years time, as long as I just do what I love to do. So I do explain that to people, that there's never better opportunity now with these short form platforms. The way you advertise in 1980 compared to where you advertise today, gosh, I mean, there were advertisements that took months for marketing to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, what did they do? Classified ads, magazines, all the old ways of doing it. People still do that. But if you have TikTok or Instagram or any of these short form platforms, you can reach hundreds of thousands of people in just a matter of hours, days.
Yeah.
So I want people to be clear that you got to understand these platforms. You got to understand how this stuff works and how amazing it can be for somebody.
And how those views are actually advertising dollars, right?
Yeah.
We don't look at it like that. Like if I just am able to get a video to get even 2,000 views, what we've always had to do to get 2,000 videos or 2,000 views is to usually pay to have that. And so God forbid if you have a video that takes off and gets 10,000 or 100,000 or 1,000,000, that if you have a video that goes viral and gets 1,000,000 views, like so many people on the show, almost every single person, when you're consistent, you're eventually going to have a video that takes off. That would have traditionally, and in some cases still, cost you tens of thousands of dollars to get your message in front of that many people. Transitioning to TikTok, headlines, TikTok's going to be banned. What say you about that? How do you react? How do you respond?
I'm an anxiety-filled person. So when I first heard about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But I can't, and I keep telling myself this, I can't worry about things I can't control. I can't control it, so I can't worry about it. So, Montana is one that, they're talking about banning it, but that's not going to happen until January if anything does happen. So look, you got 9 months. If anything does happen with TikTok, be prepared. That's all. Just look, I have a list of different platforms I'm on, and I'm on all of them. I try to find new ones every day to try to be diverse, because we don't own it. The thing that you do own is your email list, and that's very important that people should have their email list and keep in contact with your people, because if this thing goes down and this is your only bread and butter, you need to absolutely talk to your people and let them know where you're going. There are a lot of people preparing for that now, which is fine. But continue to build your other platforms. Instagram, build Facebook. These are very popular platforms that do generate a lot of leads. If whatever you're doing, whatever you're promoting, they do generate a lot of leads. And some people think they're a lot better than TikTok, right? TikTok has a reputation for getting people fast, right? I mean, that's their reputation. That's their algorithm. It's and no other company can duplicate that algorithm. So that's the thing about TikTok. But if you can master Instagram, look at Camilla. Holy crap! I mean, the woman is an Instagram master. So follow people that do very well, and then just try to emulate what they do and just make it your own. That's what I'm doing. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to.
You know what's interesting is that and I say we, because I'm not saying you, I have anxieties and fears about things too. It helps to talk about them. This is the power of a community, right? I mean, it's the power of a therapist. It's the power of a friend. It's the power of a confession. It's the power of a live. It helps to talk about these things because inside of our own head, they sound really scary. And quite frankly, Phil, I don't know about you, but it's a bad neighborhood up here. I try not to go in there alone, but what I find interesting is that, some of us can be worried about something that's going to go away that we haven't even started yet.
Right.
Right. Simultaneously, the thing that we feel secure with, our job, we're not questioning that. Right. Like, well, what if that could go away? That's something that could actually hurt me right now.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how the brain can play tricks on us. It's amazing how we can focus on things that, quite frankly, don't even matter.
Right.
The majority of, and I say this with no meanness. No, I'm just pointing out facts, because sometimes when we really say things out loud that are in our head, or we really look at them from a different perspective, we're like, yeah, that is a little irrational. That is a little irrational. TikTok is a platform that came along a couple of years ago, and guess what? We were doing internet marketing, affiliate marketing, all that before it came along, and guess what? We were happy as pigs and shit. We didn't know that TikTok was going to come along. We were just as excited about the opportunities that were right in front of us. I can remember when Facebook ads was hot. I can remember when Instagram was hot, and then YouTube, and then the short form video craze. And I can tell you this, my friends, if TikTok goes away, that will be a celebration time. Come on, for Facebook. Oh my gosh. They are going to, in probably 10 other companies that pop up and say, hey, we're happy to take you on. We've got very similar technology. I believe that what we're going to see in terms of algorithms, especially with artificial intelligence over the next 6 to 12 months, is going to make everything that we know right now and think is powerful and think is cool look like kindergarten.
Yeah.
That's just that's how fast things are moving right now. Yeah. And just even in the end of 2022, if you looked at all the big tech companies, they took a big dive in 2022, even their stock, their big layoffs, recessions. But guess what? In the first quarter of this year, that stuff's up 22%. AI, because things come in, new trends, new things. It's new life is born. That's the power of the economy. That's the power of business and entrepreneurship, is just when you think it's going to die, and just when you give up. And it's sort of like that meme with the guy digging for the diamonds. He quits right before. Just when we all think that it's all going to crap, new technology emerges, and that's why it's so important to be in the game. People look at Legendary and say, congratulations on all the success this year or last year. And it's like, man, we were ready for this. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And we were prepared. We started this company in 2017. We had some kind of real difficult growth years in 17, 18, 19, and 20. And then I thought it was over in the pandemic. I mean, I'm a guy, I'm a human. And we decided, Phil, to go live every day. And instead of going with our brains freaking out, we said, okay, bad neighborhood up here. Let's act. Let's just do the opposite of what we're feeling. Right. And we started going live every day. And now we've done almost 700 interviews. and it's 2023, and things couldn't have just so grateful. It's once again, it's just an example, not one I talk about a lot, but it's true. It's the power of the economy rejuvenating itself, of technology and innovation constantly keeping things at the cutting edge. And it's not a matter of whether that's going to happen. It's a matter of whether you're in the game when it does happen, because it's going to happen. Companies continue on past people. We are just speckles of, these things are all going to happen with or without us. And that was one of the things that I learned going through this process was, even when I think things are bad, even when I think that's just me. Until this world blows up, it's not over. And I better not get too stinking thinking, or I'm going to get left behind. I need to stay in the game and be consistent on a daily basis. And so how do you motivate yourself? Do you ever have a day where you're like, I don't want to go live?
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. There are days that, but my thing is, if I don't go, but you said this earlier, live for me is my therapy. I'll if I'm not feeling motivated to do what I want to do for the day, and once I start doing my live and I get pumped up for my live, I mean, I go through a little routine before I do my live. I get a little pumped up and get myself ready to go. Maybe listen to a little motivational thing or read a little bit of motivational things, and I get on my live, and I'm a happy person. My attitude is, I want people to convey from me that, look, this is something that I love to do, because I love to do this. This is something that I want to convey to you. This is something that I really believe that if you can change your life in the same way that I have, and I'm here to kind of show you that to you. So it is a therapy for me. I get pumped up sometimes. I mean, I did a live about last Thursday that was 3 hours, and I was giving out nuggets like crazy, and I was screaming, yelling. I was having
You were handing out nuggets like McDonald's, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and I was doing things like, people were like, well, people were asking about the blueprints and how come nobody ever shows the blueprints. I'm like, look, let me show you. Let me just give you some ideas of what the blueprints package have. Look what you're missing out on. If people wanted to know what's so popular about the blueprints. Why doesn't anybody hey, you want to know? I'm going to tell you. Here it is. This is what you're missing out. You want to get it? It's out there for you. So, I mean, I don't go into detail, but I just give people an idea. Look, if this is a package that you're interested in, then this is what the benefits it gave to me. I don't go too much into benefits and things like that, but I want people to understand that this is something that you need to understand, and it gets me pumped up, and I talk about it, and people kind of feel that from me. And that's what in a live, that's what I want. So yes, it is.
I relate to that. And I think that, let me ask you this though. Did it feel like therapy in your first one, two, or third one that you did? That's the part we all need to make sure that we hear as well.
No, like I said, I'm an anxiety-ridden person. The things that bother me that don't bother other people. I worry about the lighting. I worry about what if I got a nose hair hanging out of my face, or something crazy like that. What do they think of this old man on TikTok talking about, some of this stuff? So all of that crap goes through my head. I don't know how I'm going to be in the mastermind when I do a mastermind. I'm going to stand up there, with my thumb, picking my nose, like, what am I going to say? I have it all planned out, and I just fall down and do nothing. So, but I can't worry about it.
I'll pick you up.
Yeah,
don't worry.
But it's just this anxiety person that I've learned to deal with it. And when I go into lives in the beginning, my whole plan was to just get better at it. My goal in my head was, I needed to get out of the situation that I was in. My health was in danger, and my goal was to get out of that. And if I can make this thing work, my goal was to fail as much as possible first. I wanted to get all the failure out of the way first, because I don't want to fail when I'm doing well. I want to fail when I'm not doing well. I want to be able to do the best I can and never, ever quit. I told my wife, give me 1 year. Just give me 1 year. I don't need a couple of months. I need a whole year to master what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And hopefully, you know, I don't know if I mastered anything, but
But you got enough, you know, enough to be dangerous, and that's what's important.
yeah,
You know, this is, I think that what you're saying right here struck me there and reminded me of what I'm going through right now with my dad. He just had open heart surgery, and he's on about his fifth day of basically recovering, but it's going very slowly, and it's been very scary. And he's still not out of the woods yet. And the things that you're talking about, my health, my life, you know, being able to you just said it. My life was in danger. You said, like, man, that resonates with me. And I want to remind everybody, just because not remind, but just report to you what I'm seeing right now when I go and visit my father at the hospital as he's trying to recover from this open heart surgery. Is I see that you know, all the things that you're worried about, or I was worried about, is so trivial. So trivial.
it
Other
is.
people's opinions. Not a damn person is there at that hospital that my dad has ever been worried about their opinion. Not a damn you know what I mean? And it's like, it's a reminder. It's kind of like one of those reminders when you go to jail, you're growing up, you got all these friends, you know, you're worried about them, you're fighting for them, you're putting your life out on the line for your boys, and then you get locked up, and that, you know, your homies, you know, trying to get with your girlfriend, and nobody's around to even say hello. It's like, damn, man, maybe I need to get my priorities in order here. I've had a couple of those wake up calls throughout my life, but
Yeah.
man, there's no time. And there, I'll tell you what this does for me is this gets me to a place, and it's been an emotional week for me. I mean, I'm talking about sleeping at the hospital, man. I'm not teary because right now, because I've cried them all out. They're all out. I'm dry right now. But this is doing this, what we're doing here in this moment is therapeutic for me as well, because, and it wasn't at the beginning, it was scary at the beginning. But once I realized I have a right to share and speak and market and sell and promote and have a profile and go live. I mean, we're just simply going live on a Facebook page right now. You've earned that right in your life to go live on a damn Facebook page and say whatever the hell you want to say. You have earned that right, damn it. And do it now. And do it with passion, and do it with zeal and zest. Because I'll tell you what, when it's our time, you don't even get warning. You don't even get warning. My dad was just hanging out, was woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning with a AFib, erratic heartbeat. Hasn't been home since. I'm just saying that, man, it's like life is so precious, in every single moment that I give to somebody else and allow them to rent space in my head is the absolute is that's the only tragedy. It's not a tragedy that we pass. It's not a tragedy that we have things happen to our health, especially the way that some of us live our lives. You know what I mean? But the tragedy is all the moments that we gave away.
Yes.
You feel me, man?
I definitely feel you. Look, when, prior to me seeing Legendary, my doctor told me, look, your health's in danger. You need to do something different. That's a wake up call, high blood pressure, anxiety ridden, all this other crap that I was going through. I have kids. I got kids. I want to see my daughter graduate. I want to see her get married. I want to be a granddad. I want to do all that stuff. But when I do these lives, I tell people, look, there's nothing more important, but money's good. But what success to me here is being home with my family, getting, time. People tell me time is money, Phil. Time is money. To me, time is time. Money's money. I can go out and make money anytime I want to. I can never get my time back.
Yeah.
And I want my time with my family. This business has been able to do that for me. And I've busted my hump to try to do that every day so that I can be that person. And I want other people to be that as well. So if I was to give anybody a last, and I never gave up. And if there's a last word here, I know there's about 5 minutes left here. If you want to get into the last word, I'll tell you what my last word will be.
Yeah, please.
Is never give up, right? I wrote it down here. I'm going to read what I wrote. Many people get discouraged, and they quit before they have a chance to win. An entrepreneur or a leader sees adversity as a challenge and they keep going. So, the ultimate secret to success is that you can never be defeated if you never stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
So I really believe those words that helped me get through the ups and the downs, the health issues that I've had. It wasn't bad. It's just something that, wakes you up. And I've known people that are out there that just don't realize that no matter how old you are, it can go in a second, and really start to think about what's going on in your life, and really think about the most important things in your life. And the last thing I usually say on my lives to most people, my last thing that I always say to everybody before I leave my live is this. I tell people there are people in your life that you love. Give them a hug, give them a kiss, because they probably deserve it, because our life is not going to be promised to us the next day.
Yeah. Well said, brother. We'll end it with that. And if you want more of Phil, then if you were lucky enough to get into our mastermind, it booked up within about 36 hours when we opened it up. So get on the waiting list if you want to see Phil live and in person at our upcoming mastermind in June. And if not, well, you'll have to wait and just check him out virtually over at Make Money with Phil on TikTok and Instagram, brother. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. My best to you and Heather.
Pray for your dad. Pray for
Thanks,
your dad.
brother. Thank you. All right, my friends, Phil Kohberger, the man, the myth, the legend. Go find him. Go see him. Go learn from him. Go listen to him at Make Money with Phil over on TikTok and Instagram. It was an epic wake up legendary today. It always is when Phil's in the house, my friends. And Phil was just like you when he started, as you heard today, anxiety ridden, probably lots of overwhelm, but he just kept going. He just kept learning. And even, as he said, was a little bit arrogant, as most of us men are, as we skip over, buy the product, but don't read the instruction manual. And then he did. And he's making his way and doing his thing. And as he said, he's not making millions, but over the years, I think he'll get there. I think he's on his way. So my friends, we'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Appreciate you all. And as Phil said, hey, grab somebody you love, tell them that you love them, give them a hug. And I appreciate and love all of you. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Peace.